It's Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, Ukraine's Zelenskiy moves to replace wartime defense minister. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced over the weekend that he will replace Defense Minister Oleksii Reznikov, who has been running things since Russia invaded in February of 2022, with Rustem Umerov, who has been serving as the head of Ukraine's state property fund. The outgoing defense minister has been accused of corruption, including charging higher prices for fundamentals like food and then pocketing the difference, though he contends that these accusations are just smears. The incoming defense minister, who Zelensky says won't have any trouble being approved by parliament, has attained a stellar reputation, running a fund that, until he took control of it, was plagued by accusations of graft. This change in leadership is occurring at a moment in which the Ukrainian government is trying to weed out corruption, even within the government itself, as this has long been an issue in the country, and Ukraine's outside supporters have expressed concern that the billions of dollars and high-end military equipment they are sending to the Ukrainian military might not make it to the front lines. From the Associated Press, India launches a spacecraft to study the sun after successful landing near the moon's south pole. Over the weekend, India's space agency kicked off its first sun-focused mission, successfully launching a satellite that will be placed at the L1 gravity-stabilized Lagrange point, located about 930,000 miles, which is about 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. This launch, which was successful, occurred just a few weeks after the agency's also successful landing of a lander and rover on the southern polar region of the moon, representing another win for a space agency that has a lower budget than most, but which has been racking up accolades of late. This satellite is meant to keep tabs on solar activity, including the sort that can impact power grids and satellites on and around Earth, while also studying the sun's corona, chromosphere, photosphere, and solar wind. And from the Financial Times, China's battery plant rush raises fears of global squeeze. China's production of battery factories is looking likely to cause their output to overshoot demand, stoking concerns that they could create a boom-bust cycle mimicking those recently seen in the country's property and solar power markets. Chinese state governments provide local businesses with subsidies to build out manufacturing capacity for things they're likely to need in the near future. And when these states compete to produce the same things all at once, they sometimes end up with a lot more manufacturing capacity than the market justifies, which in turn can leave them with gobs of, for instance, e-bikes or old-style electric cars that cannot be sold because they have way more than they need, and which must then be junked at a significant loss. This system of incentives is effective for stimulating manufacturing infrastructure, but has historically also been prone to sparking overproduction, and that leaves these industries prone to bubbles, and that in turn means a lot of sunk investment, lost resources, and in some cases a refocus on exports, which can cause geopolitical tensions and complicate markets the Chinese government would prefer to corner for its internal use. If you're finding some value in one-sentence news, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.